Hello and welcome. Rahul, you're watching my YouTube channel, my talks, and if you're watching me consistently, welcome back to my channel. See, whenever I come in front of you, I have a purpose. I want to instill positivity. I want to share some information. And if you have information, in this information is, then you can dominate. You can have opportunity to cash in on. You can have multitude of experience because what happens, if you're honing your skills, if you're skilling yourself up, you can apply yourself anywhere. When the opportunity unfolds or when the opportunity arises, you'll be able to grab that very opportunity. That is the power of information. That is the power of positivity, and positive mindset can propel you forward. If you don't have positive mindset, then what will happen? Your self-confidence will be at low. You won't be able to perform as you should, and a little margin takes others ahead of you in the game. Little bit margin, if you have low self-confidence, if you are not putting yourself up to the performance that is required, you won't be able to grab that very opportunity. And I'm asking you that self-confidence has such power that can give you an ease over others, and little and subtle ease will give you multitude of opportunity. And that is what happens in competition. That is what is prevailing. That is what is the reality. If you really want to change your livelihood, your financial structure, your finances, you have to work on your skills, you have to work on your capabilities, and the more you'll focus on your capabilities, the better you'll become. Many people across globe, you know they are striving, but they are not able to grab the opportunities because opportunities never have been distributed evenly. That is the reality. When you observe all the timelines, even the portraits by movies or any kind of storybooks, self-help books, when you read them and go deeper into literature or any kind of portrayal of information through movies, real movies, conceptual movies like Patrick's, and other John Carter and all these movies, you'll understand exactly that the world has never been easier for extraordinaries. It has never been ordinary for extraordinaries. That is what you have to keep in your mind. And cosmic coherence, I talk about it all the time. Cosmic coherence can only uproot all the obstacles and impediments that has been designed, because matrix dominates through coincidences that you perceive, but actually that are not coincidences, that are actually time and unfolding itself, and the barrier in between is that force who is moving the time and coincidences. That is what I call it synchronicities. So all these forces shape reality. When you will dive deeper through meditations or awareness, you will feel that reality. You'll understand exactly that nothing happened coincidentally. Rather, everything is synchronized. When you are aligning yourself perfectly, then only you can observe that very event. Then you will understand what is synchronicity and what is coincidence. Otherwise, if you're not able to be aware, if you're not able to have awareness, if you're not holding aware spiritual experience, you will not be able to observe that very reality, how time synchronizes itself and how events unfold. There are many forces playing along with that. Not a single force is deciding that very event. Even the forces are contradicting each other. It is interdependent on each other. That is what you have to understand. How you can align yourself with that very forces and how you can dominate in that very phenomena. It depends upon you, your intelligence, and that's why universe tests you again and again and gives you that kind of puzzle to solve, to understand exactly how to move ahead, how to navigate through this time and unfolding of events, how to be aware and how to understand exactly what is at risk and how you can hold together everything. But many a thing, when you will understand exactly that even the time unfolding could be incidents, but the program, the giant computer, is not conscious in itself. The program is working perfectly, but it is dependent on certain aware entities who is giving them feedback. So universe observes through you, through your awareness, but it is not only made of conscious entities. It has both kind of entities, and it takes feedback and then it unfolds everything. And there are many forces playing along with that, that is shaping reality. That is what you have to understand. That is what I want to say you. Because once you will align yourself perfectly, with higher awareness, you'll know exactly the subtle dimensions that will unfold, with your intuitive mindset. When you will understand exactly intuitively, when you will be aware, when you will try to read the synchronicity of the universe and the time synchronities with your perfect awareness, and your intuitive mind will guide you, and you will be able to clear away all those clutters, because there could be many and many a delusion in the way. But if you're not able to filter it out, then you will be in chaos. That is what is the reality. But if you will be able to filter that, along with many experience, eclectic experience that you have previously in past time, because it is not the story of single story of your single lifetime. It could be connected. But once you find the synchronicity, once you start to believe on your own intuition, because you are perfectly aligned, and also on your intelligence, also on cognitive intelligence, not only intuitive reality, but along with that, once you will start applying a second layer, that is what will start working as a filter, your discernment ability. Your discernment is also important. But once the synchronicity will go deeper, you'll start believing and you'll start relying on your intuition much more, because it will give you the right direction and right feedback. But along with that, you have to be aware. When you will go deeply, then only you can read the programs, how the system, the programs of the universe works and how it is essential to understand exactly. But that doesn't mean that you can deceive. And if you start deceiving, you have another dimensions. You plug and try to find vicinity of those people who are already in darkness. And once you'll try to imbibe the light, once you'll explore yourself and you believe in yourself that you can face the light and all these realities, when you'll have guts, you'll align yourself with the light. And both are important for coexistence. But domination will be in those hands who will be ready, who will be deciphering everything, who will be always applying their mind, who will be always aware. That is what is the reality. If the bigger program and the bigger entities, mainframe universe is taking feedback of all these aware entities, and if aware entities are being partial, maybe the system itself will work partially. you know it will be compromised also if most of the programs will develop negatively. That is what is the reality. But many a times we feel that because most of the programs that are aware, they give the right feedback to the system. A system observes through those programs and try to give and manifest that reality or that unfolding in your life, which aligns perfectly with the system's perspective. And systems have its control, have its perspective. But it doesn't mean that our ideologies and our vices and virtues will meet the system vices and virtues, because the system is very vast and it has different algorithms it could have, and it can have multitude of algorithms that we don't even know, that we don't have capability to perceive. It may be reality, that it has magnitude that we can't even realize, we can't even imagine. Such kind of magnitude it has, the system has. But we have to know, because a lot of contemplation we have done, a lot of circumstances we have faced, and then we are telling you the reality with our experience, what we have been through, how much light and how much darkness we have observed, and how much darkness have consumed, and then how we emerged ourselves from that darkness. So our struggle also strengthen us to observe and to tell you exactly what is happening around, and that is what is the reality. Once you'll be able to observe all this reality about the universe, then you will think of yourself where you want to place yourself. Do you want to take advantage through vices, or do you want to take advances through virtues? Both have their own places in this world. you know. And most of the time you'll see that domination is easier when you have vices, along with negative energy and dark energy. If you merge, you have domination a lot. But once a single entity takes place and emerges with light, its light can dismantle all the darkness around, and it can make you naked. That is what is the reality, and that is why they fear the real protagonist and heroes. That is what has been shown in Matrix movie, how Agent Smith has taken over the system, you know. And at the end, what happens to the protagonist, we all know that. Beyond that, if you really go beyond it, try to observe. If you really want to decipher, observe new realities. Through John Carter movie is also good. A little bit of perspective it has, but it shows the reality. Because once you become scientific, about exploration, once you know exactly how gods and principles of gods, what you define. Though I have given analogy of system, but you call it God in human words, but we don't believe in that word, because you have manipulated and created your little myths about God, which does not align with our perspective. And it will never align if you really be awakened. If you really be someone who can have a little bit of mindset, and understanding, you will discard all these illusions at first stage. because all 90% people resonate there and they have their own place. You don't resonate with their perspective, and that is what will be good for you. Because if you dive into mud, you will also be darkened. You will not be emerging, cleanly and victorious. You will not go there. That is what will be the reality. But sometimes our perspective is that we have to refine and we have to create positive energies, to perpetuate, to resonate with their ideology also, so that they can emerge a little bit, towards light. And when they will understand exactly what is the truth, they will certainly be able to imbibe the personality, because change happens gradually. One day you have a different dogmas, you have different principalities of life, and after 100 days or 2 years, you have different perspective of altogether, because you have awareness and you have awakened yourself. That is what is the reality. We cannot discard that. But what happens when the mass people try to awaken themselves at one point? That is what is the threat, the system threat to the matrix, and that is where matrix prevail and try to give you coincidences that you be in that kind of situations and do not find liberation out of that. That is what is the role of matrix, matrix and its programs. But constant feedback is not only given by matrix to mainframe, but many aware programs and entities may be called anomalies. They are also feeding back to the system. That is what they call it, gods. All these gods are giving feedback to the system in human terms, but we don't call it in human terms. We know exactly what is happening, and we are part of the system. We all persons are part of the system, and that is why we have to realize, because consequences and implications are deeply weaved in everyone's fortune. And if some mistakes happen, I will be punished, you will be punished, and everyone else will be punished. Every program will be punished, accordingly. Maybe they are right and true, but if their presentation had been manipulated in the eyes of all those programs who are God entities, and feedback to the men from goes that these entities is not right. Though you are on virtue, or you are on virtues and your virtues are correct, but the right systems are not giving the right feedback, you will be always on disadvantage side. You will not be given that opportunity. That is what is the reality of the system. That is why, how can you say that it's a fair system? Not even, it is a system, not even fair. We cannot say not even bad. It is altogether mixture, and the system knows exactly, when it takes feedback from all these people, it try to correct itself in future. That is what the wonderful thing of this system, that it corrects itself in the future. Thank you for listening to me.